Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Woman Show on the New You Nation Network. What's today? November 7th. Is it the third week of November?
Yes, it
It
is.
sure is.
All right. Well, we are breathing through the year, we are breathing through the month. And so here we are again for another episode of the Woman Show on the New You Nation Network. We are happy to be here this evening, and we are going to start out as we normally do with introductions and what we're grateful for. So, who wants to go first?
I'll go.
All right.
Hi, y'all. This is Regina Howard Norman of Regina's Baking Academy and Origin Unlimited. What I'm super grateful for today is that I had the pleasure of teaching 13 scholars how to bake. We did a really cool baking lesson in collaboration with my day job. And they also did a community service project where they baked cookies to give back to the community. So not only did they learn how to bake or relearn, some of them baked before, but they also got to have camaraderie. We did everything from math to uh, portion size, and then after all that baking, they actually bagged the cookies so that we could then give them to the participants in our building. So that was a well-rounded experience and a lot of cookies, y'all. I think I baked about at least 20 plus dozen cookies. That was a lot of cookies, like a lot of cookies. So I'm grateful for that. It was just really great to be around young people, and they're inquisitive and they have their different personalities, and just to have all of that positive energy and excitement, it was really a great day. So yeah, I am
Nice.
grateful that I was able to do that with them and be part of their experience and community service, as well as learning a new tool they can put in their toolkit and share with
Nice.
their family.
All right.
Okay.
Mm, Okay. Well, I am Sheila Isom, and I am just grateful for another day. Nothing spectacular, just another day to wake up, to move around, to say, hey, y'all, and to look forward to getting some good sleep.
I know that's right.
It's tired, y'all.
I understand
Sleep,
that.
listen, let me tell you something. It's nothing like a good sleep.
Ain't nothing like it. Whew. And to think we used to fight sleep when we were younger.
Hello.
Yeah. Um, Regina, you want to go next or you want me to go next?
I can go, I guess. Hello, everyone. My name, my name is Regina Booker, owner of Season and Fabulous. We're women in 50 plus. If they're stuck at a midway, when life, where you're about to go to retirement or whatever you might be, a fork in a road per se, and where you want to begin your dreams, admirations, or your empty nester, or whatever it is. But let's just do, because it's never too late to do what you want to do. Kind of like our topic tonight. Theo will share it, but in a way, I'm trying to get myself out of a funk. It was very disturbing today in our school.
Oh man.
Nothing happened, but the is in North Carolina. It's
Mm.
been very tough day, and to see our students not show up today, it's very
Oh wow.
concerning.
Mm,
Yeah.
Oh,
So it was a tough day for me, but I'm grateful.
Hmm.
I'm just grateful. That's all I can
wow.
say.
Praying for whatever situation that is and believing that
Yeah.
God is working it all out.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I guess it's up to me. I am Theodora. otherwise known as Coach Theo. I'm owner and founder of T. Carter Coaching and Consulting, and I help women live with clarity, courage, and intention. And so I am grateful for another day. Grateful that I finally broke down and bought a new chair.
It looks nice. I see it.
All right.
That is so
Wonderful.
much more comfortable. I didn't even realize when I bought it that it has a little massage thing here that I could plug in. Grateful that, last week I had the opportunity to volunteer with some coworkers at a food bank where we packed 800 boxes of food
Wow.
that our organization actually keeps at various clinics and hospitals that we run. So if people identify as needing food, they're able to give them to them. And
That's
what
beautiful.
else am I grateful for? Um, listen, I'm excited to be here. Just really thankful for the opportunity to always be able to participate in giving back. So that especially in these times, I think for
Mhm.
me, having that opportunity kind of helps to keep me in a more of a good mindset, you know,
Mhm.
having those opportunities to give back. So yeah. So let's get into the topic. Tonight we are talking about rebranding ourselves. So becoming the woman you always needed. So
Mm.
I think this is a great topic, right? The last couple of weeks we've talked about boundaries, right? We've talked
Mhm.
about redefining ourselves, and so I think tonight's topic is going to be fun. So I have a question to start us off. Um, where was that question I had? It's kind of like, okay, so if your life had a tagline right now, what
Ooh.
would it
Oh, now I got to get some paper. Hold on. Mm.
Wait, there, I gotta get some paper. Oh,
Hmm.
be? Like
in the in the
I came up with the question and I still got to think about it.
in the memorable phraseology of the immortal Joker in one of the series of
What?
Batman.
What?
He said, "Wait till they get a load of me, the new
Yeah.
me, not the
That's your
one that you."
tagline. What's your tagline?
I don't
Wait
know.
till they
She's
get a load of the new me,
wait
Wait until they get a load of
low
the new.
new
new
me.
me.
That's your
Yes,
tagline.
that's going to be my tagline for today.
Hey,
And
Okay.
and my reason for it is this: I think some people are naturally and outgoing or shy or whatever they are, and that's kind of how their temperament is throughout their different stages of life. Childhood, teenage, adulthood, and womanhood. I've found that as I've gotten older, not that I'm more outspoken, but I'm more clear. I've become better at saying my yays are my yays and my nays are my nays.
mm,
And for some people, they're a little taken aback because
mm,
I've, for a long time, I've been, the one that's acquiescent. You could depend on me to do a thing for you. I was always consistently putting everything in front of me, and or even something like, if I had something that you said you liked it, I'm like, oh, no worries, I can get another one. No, you can have it. Nothing crazy, but if it's just a little treat or something. But lately, I found myself saying, yeah, no, you can't have that. That's mine.
okay.
Or I find myself saying, no, I can't make that. Or yes, I'm looking forward to doing that, and I will be available. So I find myself and I do believe it's the more I trust in who God created me to be, the more I trust in how I show up in the world. And so all those things were already there, my ability to be firm in my yeses and my nos. But the more I read about his grace and his mercy and all the things that he laid foundation for me to be at the space I am, I have to walk in confidence because it's not about me, it's about who created me. So if I don't walk in the confidence of who I am or who's inside of me, which is God our creator, then I'm allowing other people to win. And that's not okay.
All
I'm
right.
allowing I'm allowing other people's opinions to win over what's inside me to show. So
Okay.
that's where I am right now.
So before we go, look at what Antoinette. Good evening, Antoinette. Thank you for joining us. Antoinette said, "Grabbing the bull by the horn while walking in my soft era."
You
I
better go ahead,
love
Yes.
it.
Antoinette.
Yes.
Okay. I heard that.
Yes, yes, I love it.
Grabbing the bull by
Yeah,
the
it's
horn.
like,
All right.
two ends of the spectrum right there. It's like, look, I'm dead serious, but I'm a lady. All
Hey.
right, Antoinette.
I love it. Yeah, that's good. All right, who's next? Who's next?
Oh, I wrote mine down. I'm ready.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I
sis.
am, yeah, ready? Okay. I am comfortable with and confident in who I am.
All right now.
Okay.
I love me some me. And while everyone always has room for improvement, I'm okay with that because that only helps me grow.
Mm.
And I just love the woman that God has meant for me to be.
Mm,
Yeah,
I love that. I
I love
love
it.
that.
All right. All right, Regina.
I don't.
You
God, you
want me?
guys got some.
You still writing?
All right.
Uh,
All right. So I'll go. What came to me is
you
um
go.
okay. So I would say intentionally and unapologetically
Of course.
walking into the next era of my becoming everything that God created me to be.
All right.
Yeah.
All right now. I feel that. That's great.
Mm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay, Regina. Come on, bring it home, sugar.
Come on, girl.
You got it.
Well, God is in my next messy steps.
Mm.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay,
Not the
okay.
disappearing act. You better come back. Come back. Come back.
I know you
Don't
didn't.
disappear after
Look,
you say that.
she done gave us something and then disappeared.
Right,
Ooh.
right.
Love it. But this is so great. Like I feel like that question like just sets the stage because you notice what happened is all of us, even Antoinette, none of us identified, right? Our tagline to be with something that would be um connected to a title, right? Like, work or being a mother or being a whatever. So
Mm-mm.
I love that, you know, the tagline was specifically related to us,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
right? Not a,
Right.
it wasn't about an identity, right? It wasn't about a title. It was all about who we see ourselves
Mm-hmm.
becoming and who we've been working to become, right? Because when you think about it, we all probably are in the space that you talked about, Regina, where we knew who we were, but we weren't living that out,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's just great. So what are some of the things that you've had to like release or let go of to start to formulate that person that
Right.
you're becoming, like this rebrand.
Right. So, and I'll just say, as I was hearing you and listening, I was thinking about, we like to say, we go through different things, we go through different stages. But I want to rephrase that and say we grow through different stages,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
right? And so in my growing, I've experienced things that uh, shaped what I thought about life as it relates to family relationships, my place, um, what I'm supposed to be, who I'm supposed to represent, how I'm supposed to show up. And I've grown through different opinions, good, bad, and indifferent. And I continue to grow in my desire to be whom God created me to be.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
And when I feel like something is off, I'm saying, okay, so what am I doing that's not lining up with His will and purpose for my life?
mm,
And sometimes just sitting still instead of, usually I call up, you know, some of my tight circle. I have a small tight circle, and I'll be like calling it, throwing things off of them or talking about what's in my mind. But I've learned how to be still in His presence and ask the question and then listen for what that answer is. And that's taken me to different levels of growth and maturity in how I respond to external influences, as well as growing into the person I'm still becoming.
mm.
So learning how to grow through instead of the thing is, oh, we all go through stuff. Yeah, we do. We're gonna go through automatically. We went through today, right? Today is almost over. We went through today. But did
Mm-hmm.
we grow? Is there growth? So when I look over the different eras in my life, I'm looking at my growth now. I'm
Mm,
looking at the things I've grown through, not the things I've gone through. I've grown because I'm not the same person that I was. And in the rebrand, I'm also realizing there's certain things I don't have to tolerate.
Mm.
I don't
Say it
have to
again.
co-sign on what I don't agree with. And I don't have to do something to make you look bad or make me look bad to make you feel good or less, you know.
mm,
What's the saying? I don't have to stand tall by stepping on someone else, nor would I allow someone else to stand tall by stepping on me.
mm,
So I'm learning to be more confident in who I am because I know whose I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in Him that I rest.
yeah.
So
Right.
that's where my growing, I'm learning that everything that I've experienced has been for me to grow so that I
Mm,
can do what I'm here to do and do that better.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I like what well Internet said, my husband. Internet, I would love for you to share in the comments like what that means. Like, because what I'm thinking it means is that you have found your partner in life that allows you to be who you are, authentically, which has added to you, growing and grabbing the bull by the horn while walking in your self era. So in my mind, when you say my husband, I feel like you've met the person, the partner God has sent you, the person that allows you to have your soft era, but also show up right strong as well. So I would love to know if I'm interpreting that the right way. So Sheila, what about you now? The question is on the table, right? What has helped you as you have gone through this rebranding stage?
Um, Keeping my mouth shut.
Mm,
I am realizing that I have gone from somebody who did not hesitate to speak their mind to
mm,
someone who is saying, when you open your mouth, well, how does that serve you?
Mm.
Mhm.
Not only just how does it serve you, whether it's professionally or anything else, but mentally.
Yep.
Is
Okay.
is by you opening your mouth, being outspoken, being forthcoming, is that going to change the situation? Does that give you any more or any less control?
Mm.
And how is that going to affect you once you've said what you've said?
Mm.
Ain't going to be status quo, or is it going to make a difference?
Mm.
So I'm finding that I already know in most instances that what I may say isn't going to make a difference. So for
Mm.
my own sanity, I'm just keeping my mouth shut.
Nice. All right. All right.
Hmm.
You want me to go again? Or are you ready?
um, what's the question again?
The question is, what contributed to the rebranding, right? Like the you evolving, the
The rebranding right now is
because
trusting God,
we
really.
still gotta, because God is in my next mess, right? Like,
Mhm. But basically, it actually came from God. I had a good sermon yesterday, and it touched right where I was, and
mm,
it resonated. And I was trying. Well, what I was trying to stop, I was trying not to say this. I'm like, well, I didn't want to say the sermon because so that's why I put a kind of twist on it.
mhm,
But it it really spoke to where I am right now because you guys know everything that
mhm,
I've gone through, and and it's like where you're in the middle, but that is part of my rebranding. Like, but
mhm,
I'm not scared, but I trust God, and I know I'm somewhere in the middle of where I'm supposed to be.
mhm,
But through that and through the growth, God is with me with every step, and I'm not scared. And
mhm,
it's with it's also with what Sheila said. I keep my mouth closed, but I know who I am. To Gina's point, um,
mhm,
through growth and what I've been through, it's just another revolution of what I'm going through to get to where I'm going to be.
mm,
But I trust God to get there, and I let Him lead the way. And I'm going to go through bumps and turns and ups and downs and around the corner and up and down and around and don't know. And sometimes I'm going to get done. Sometimes I'm going to cry. Sometimes I'm going to be joyful. And it's going to be a zigzag path to get me there. But along the way, I still know who I am, if that makes sense. But
Mm-hmm.
it's
mhm,
all the ways I'm getting there. But that's all part of the growth. But I
Yes.
still stand on the woman of who I am through God, through all of
mhm,
it. Because
Yes.
I don't lose who I am through Him.
mhm. Okay.
There was a time that I would try to um I would try to be somebody else.
Mm,
When we were younger,
yeah.
yeah, something happened and I tried, let me try. It's like getting a new hairstyle. Oh, that
Mhm,
don't work out. Let me go try to do this to fit somebody else's mold. I'm no longer fitting anyone else's mold while I'm going through this.
Mm.
mm.
Love it.
Nice. So before I go, I'm gonna share Antoinette's response because I love it. She said, "My husband recently requested a separation, and I don't do separations. I love that. And once I started my healing journey, God told me to sit and process. I am rebranding because I don't like the woman I was with my husband, trying to be a dutifully wife. This chapter, I am rebranding, and that is a message I feel like I got from God. Grab the bull by the horn, but stay soft, not angry or in survival mode. No apology for it being long because it's not long, but I love it. I love
Mm-hmm.
it. I love
Yeah, no
Yes.
apologies. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, the reality is, like Regina said, how we go through something is indicative of how we come out of it. And you
Mm-hmm.
already realize that You are worth so much more than to sit back and accept, right, who
Yep.
somebody would have you to be.
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so we celebrate your rebranding journey.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I will say, I feel like I've been rebranding since like what 2021 when I picked up in 60 days and moved to North Carolina. But I just feel like a lot of it has been through my healing, journey. But I think for me, it was when my therapist, and I joke around with her, broke up with me, right? So basically, you guys know I do, I stayed in therapy for preventative, right,
Hmm.
measures. And probably back in September, my therapist was like, I don't think need me anymore. Like at this point, you probably just need an accountability partner. So I was like, oh, so you breaking up, right? and, we joked about it, but for me, I think it was a pivotal point for me because one,
Mm.
I was like, you know what, it probably is time because although it's for preventative measures, I didn't want to get dependent,
Right.
right, on that. And if I ever needed to go back, because we'll have one more session in December and close out the year. But so we went from monthly to like every other month, and then we'll close out in December. But for me, I think that was critical because I recognize that I have been rebranding, I have been becoming, I have been, living differently, more confident, right? On my personal side of life, because I feel like I've always been confident on my professional side, but not as much personally, right? So
Okay.
just more confident in that end. But like all of you have already said, right? Knowing when it's necessary to talk and when it's not, right? Really understanding that my no is my no and my yes is
Mm-hmm.
my yes, right? But also for me, one of the things yesterday, like this weekend was fabulous. Friday night at church, we had pour night, right? So it's just worship and praise and song, right? And then, Saturday, I went to see a Christmas movie, right? And then
Boy.
Sunday, um, yes, somebody was like, "What you going to see?" Such and such. I said, "No, I'm going to see Unexpected Christmas." I know nobody probably knows the movie, but yes, I am going to the movies to see that. But then yesterday, listening to Sarah Jakes Roberts, and she was talking about how we breathe, right? And how when we breathe out, right, we got to be careful with our breathing out because she was like, sometimes we need to breathe out fear, right? But sometimes we need to recognize that if we're really breathing what God has put into us, we should be breathing out purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
We should be breathing out confidence. We should be breathing out, all of those things that God has created and put in us to be. And so I just thought about it. I was like, wow, sometimes we're not cognizant of what we're breathing out, right?
Mm.
We're not cognizant of what we're giving out when we are talking or sharing our emotions and what we're feeling. And so for me, I think for me, rebranding has really become where I am more confident, but not even in just myself, more confident in God, right?
Yeah.
Where I trust him, right? Where I'm not always second guessing or sitting back and, you know, saying, "Oh, am I really supposed to be doing that?" Like knowing that, okay, yeah, God, I hear you. I'm gonna let go and I'm gonna let you lead. Right. And so for me, I think that has been really, really pivotal for me in this journey of becoming,
Mm.
right? Because I do realize that I was kind of like dependent. Like I'm like, yo, every month I get to talk to this person and I get to, spill out what's going on in my head or whatever. And I was like, all right, maybe it's not as necessary, right? Because it's no longer because something is wrong or I'm dealing with something. It's more so it's became comfortable.
Right.
And one of the things I don't want to do is go back to that space of being comfortable, Because when we're comfortable, we tend to stay in spaces longer than we're supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
So
true.
yeah. So that's true. But it's amazing because think about when did we start this show? How long has it been now?
It's going on 4, 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Four,
Definitely.
probably, maybe.
Think about when we first were voluntold.
And we all
Right.
said no. In
And
our
we all
heads, in our heads, we was like, we
it
no,
was
not.
like, like she
Ain't
wanted
nobody got time for them talk show.
she was like, you want us to do what?
What?
Right. And now look at us, 4 years later,
Mm-hmm.
we come on here. I feel like we've all gotten more comfortable with really sharing,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
what's really happening in life with us in our lives. And so, so next question. We live in a space where there's always one or two people who try to remind us of who we were, right? Like they don't they you growing, you moving forward, but they want to remind you of who you were. How do you handle people who are still kind of trying to put you in that box of the old version of how you used to show up?
You know, I'll take this one just because it happened to me recently, and I had to say to this person in love that I no longer will receive that as part of our conversation
Mm,
because it are we talking about it as a lesson, or are we talking about it to to say you did this, right?
mm,
So if it's a you did this thing, then you don't leave any room for integrity. You don't leave any room for healing,
mm,
for forgiveness. So if that is the case, then we're not talking about this anymore.
mm,
You will not say, well, you did this or you did that, or remember. Hold on to your memory. If you want to lock that away, you go right ahead. But I do not choose to engage in that because I have processed, grown, forgiven, asked for forgiveness, healed, and moved on.
mm,
So I will not allow you to bring that up today
mm,
if you haven't resolved that for yourself. I'm
mm,
good now. I'm okay. I've dealt with it. I've grown through it. I've
mm,
accepted what it is and what it wasn't. There's nothing else for me to do about that particular situation. So
mm,
I don't allow someone to say, "Oh, but remember." No. Why do I? Why? No, I don't want to remember that. Oh, but remember what you said? No, that was before. That was yesterday. Okay, stop playing in yesterday's park when you missing out on what's happening in today's backyard. Like, cut it,
mm.
right? So don't do that with me.
Yeah.
And so I've could you ask me that question one more time? Because I don't want to go off on a tangent. Because I felt Pookie coming on, so I just need you to redirect.
The question was, how do you?
Redirect. Thank you.
The question was, how do you handle people who are still
Yeah.
responding to
Okay.
the old version of you?
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so I am still on track because I was
Yeah,
about.
you were on track.
Okay. Okay.
So let.
So yeah. So I'll just say that I also realize that you're gonna have people that do that because maybe they haven't cleared where they need to heal and
Mhm,
what they need to get over. So of course, if you're not good with yourself, you're gonna find somebody else to pick with or have them remember a thing because maybe you haven't dealt with the stuff you need to deal with. Or
yeah,
maybe that makes them feel better to say, oh, but back in the day, you used to be. That was back in the day. That's
yeah,
not today.
yeah.
So if it's not for like education, how people say, um, yeah, I'm recording this call. When someone calls you up and says, "Oh, this call is being recorded for educational purposes," well, if it's not for educational purposes, don't be recording that call anymore. Okay? Don't recall that to me, sweetheart. Because no, I already had the education. I went to school. I got the certificate. Thank you very much. Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's it.
So Antoinette said, I would say to that person, God is good, right? And he still works. Amen.
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 And
Mhm.
then she said, or I say to them, let's give him praise. Hallelujah.
See, I love that.
But
Hallelujah.
but it's true. I feel like, there are always people who are gonna try to remind you
Yeah.
of, you know, who you used to be or how you used to respond to stuff, right? And
Right.
so for me, I would probably say it's back to what Sheila said. Those are the times when I don't even dignify with a response,
Okay.
right? I'm just gonna
Mhm.
let my actions speak for me.
Hmm.
I know the work that I've done to be different, right? To change and be unapologetically who I am, because like you said earlier, I mean, I think I used to be one of those people who were, I wouldn't say a people pleaser, but I especially in relationships, right? I tried to hold my tongue or do certain things to hold on to a relationship, whether it was an intimate relationship, a friendship, or whatever, right? But now it's like I'm gonna do it in love, but I'm
Yeah.
no longer gonna say what you want to hear or refrain from saying or asking a question that I have because I'm concerned about how you're gonna react to it, right?
Right.
And so I think that is important for me. I mean, I think a huge part of it is also, especially when your family, they're used to you being a certain way, and now you're different,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
My family actually thinks, especially my cousins, actually think I'm spoiled. I'm not. I'm loved. But but that was the thing I always had to deal with growing up is being spoiled, even to this day. But now I'm like, yo, if I am, I spoil myself,
Right.
And
right?
that's okay.
Yeah. It's
And that's
okay. It's
right.
okay to be spoiled. I used to say I wasn't spoiled, but hey, I was spoiled. So what?
I
Embrace
say
it.
I say
I
it's
was spoiled.
I say I'm loved. I was loved.
But if you were, it used to bother me, but that's a part of who I was spoiled because I was the only girl. It was three boys. And I used to try to say, no, I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah,
I was.
yeah. Listen, I
It's
embrace.
okay.
And
And
it's
like you said,
okay.
and I spoiled myself. My dad spoiled me, so I continue to spoil myself. So in a relationship, if you can't make me where I am, then you don't deserve to be in my space because you can't. And it's not anything against you, but I'm not going to take less than where I am.
Exactly.
So
So
Hmm. Well,
so
and that's
that's
the other
all to
thing too.
that. So
You,
that's all to
you,
that. So call it spoiled, whatever you want to call it. That's who I am, and that's like you said. I'm unapologetic. That's me. So
yeah.
move on. Get out of my face. Let's go.
right.
Deuces.
Yeah,
Yeah, out
yeah,
of my face and juices.
that's it.
Okay. I
'Cause
think that was
yeah,
what
you
did
learn
Shirley said was saying so.
you learn that you don't have to be around those people. It's like
Right.
it's
Hmm.
not vital. So
Right.
if you cannot or unwilling to see
Hmm.
my growth as a person, it says more
Hmm.
about you than it does about
Hmm.
me.
Definitely.
You
Absolutely.
know,
Yeah.
so unless I have changed for the worse,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
I'm just down low, dirty, doing deceitful
Right.
things, stuff
Yep.
like that. If you can't see or you have a problem with my growth, then
Hmm.
that tells me that you're probably still stagnant.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
And
And,
we
and
can't be in the same space
right. And
because
really.
I need you. We grow at different
Mhm.
paces, but you
Yes.
have to be willing to make the
Mhm.
effort to become that person that you are supposed to be, that you are
Right.
destined to be, that you want to be. And if
Yeah.
you don't see that in me, then that means you don't know me and probably never really knew me.
Mhm.
You know, if, are
Yeah.
you jealous? I don't know. And quite frankly, I don't care.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that just says
Exactly.
that you need to continue to work on me because on
Mhm.
you because you're still judging folks. I don't have time for
Right.
that.
Mhm.
And the reality is, what I learned is everybody can't go where God is taking you,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
Yes, that is so true.
And so sometimes we try to hold on to people that God is like, listen, I'm not saying you got to cut them off completely, but you're gonna have to deal
Mhm.
with love this person in differently or from a distance,
Mhm.
because
Right,
like Sheila said, they're not growing at the same pace that you're growing.
Mhm.
They are not meant to go. They can't go where I need you to go.
Right.
right,
And so I think,
Exactly.
yeah, I think it's also very important to like really, just sit still. I think one of the things I have learned in the past 2 years or whatever is to really find time to sit still,
Hmm.
like really sit still and train my mind. Because I usually have 10 billion things going through it at a time, right? But to
hmm,
train my mind to also be still so that I could really hear, right, what God is saying and leading and having me do. Because when, if not, the enemy, that's where he attacks you, in your mind. That's the first place. That's the first place that he's coming for you, is mindset.
Mhm.
hmm.
Right. So here's another question. This one, what did your younger self need to see in you now? Right. So what's another way of asking that? Right. What would you say, like, right now, if you were talking to your younger self? Like, what would you say? Like, is there something that's in you now that you think if your younger self saw that in you, like, and I'm gonna ask this question, but I'm a believer in whatever the journey was that we took was what the journey that God would have us to take, right? Because it's the
Right.
lesson that we had to learn, right? But I do think there is something to that question of, because even with all the growth, there are still moments when we're remembering a childhood thing, right, that impacts the woman that we are becoming,
Right.
right?
Uh, since we've been going in this order, I'll just go ahead and take this one on. Take it first. Yeah, since we've been doing it like that for a couple of seconds. Uh, I want to say that um, what I would tell my younger self now is you don't have to. The only one that you're supposed to serve and please is God our Father.
Mm,
That would have saved me so much aggravation and frustration of feeling like I wasn't enough at different times, or I didn't measure up to someone else's expectations. Had I checked it with His Word, I would have known that the primary expectation was always His,
mm,
and that people fluctuate in their feelings about a thing. So you could hit the mark one day for someone and then another day not, and you not realizing this because they changed their mind on what their level of what they want. And you're not a yo-yo, you're not a rubber band. So I would tell my younger self, you are enough because of who created you. You are very strong because of what you're going to grow through, and you have what it takes to be whatever He purposed you for, no matter what anyone says or tries to do. And
mm,
hold on to that because that is your North Star, your guiding light,
mm,
God your Father. Period.
mm.
That's what I would tell my younger self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Sheila, Regina.
I would probably tell my younger self to always to listen to your intuition, right? That it's a real thing and it's there for a purpose.
Hmm.
And it's by divine spirit that it's there because it gives you that level of discernment. It gives you direction. It tells you that you are feeling this way for a certain reason. And it could be because you are trying to do too much to try to be someone that you really aren't, to try to fit in with people that you should not be around.
Hmm.
Mm,
So pay attention to what yourself, because if you're true to yourself, right, then you can hear and feel that intuition at every step.
mm,
Yeah.
So don't silence that. That is there for a reason,
Yes.
and it will not do you wrong.
mm,
You can do yourself harm. You can,
Right.
by not paying attention to that, but that inner self is what really comes out in your exterior that shows exactly who you are.
mm.
I love that.
Hmm.
Love that.
Yeah, both great. I would probably tell my younger self to speak out. Don't be afraid, which is the same as Sheila's in a way to um, what you feel, go with it, and that's part of speaking out. And to don't silence your voice
Mm.
because so many things I kept inside when I wanted to say, and I silenced my voice, and I knew it was real, and I should have spoke up.
Mm.
So
So I'm going to share internets before I share mine. So internet said, stay close to God at all times and be patient with God. God's timing is always better and great.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So I probably would tell my younger self different things at different times. So as a kid, I probably would tell myself that it's okay that you love to read and love to study and go to school, right? Despite the kids that called you a brainiac and all of that other stuff, right? That um there's nothing bad about that, right? So that's what I would tell my younger self, right? Younger self. But as I got older and got into like my 20s and stuff, I would say, you know, God first,
Hmm.
love God first, but next, love yourself, right? Because like Sheila said and like Regina said, is I feel like there were a lot of times that I did not use my voice because I was more intent on loving other people
Hmm.
Mm.
more than I was loving myself. Right. So I think for me, it would be important to say God first in all things, right?
In
But
all
then,
things, yes.
but then love me first, right? Because I think there probably was so many times where I put others people's feelings and thoughts and everything above me, which meant that I shrank, right? I didn't use my voice like Regina said, and I tried to hold on to people that really I didn't shouldn't have tried to,
Hmm.
right? So I think that's something that my younger self probably would needed to have heard back then. right, from me. So you know, that is critical. But I'm glad that we all have learned that our voices,
Mhm.
right, which is great. And so we are, oh my God, we are like at the top of the hour. So
Oh,
yeah, we're like at what? Yeah, that went quick. So
Yeah.
right, that went really quick.
Mhm.
Like it was a good conversation.
Very
So
good.
as we think to close out, right? Um, what would be your final like reflection as you think about this journey of rebranding? Right, because we've all kind of rebranded ourselves, right? We're
Mhm.
all different, all doing a lot of different stuff and things, but um, like if we had to think about the next season, right, and that tagline, right, what would that look like? I mean, I'm thinking about next year. I'll be 60,
mm.
right? And what my rebrand looks like, So
Say the question one more again.
I don't even know if I said the question because I'm
Okay.
trying to formulate it. I think if anything, maybe there isn't a question. Maybe it's just what are our final thoughts on
Okay.
rebranding.
Well,
I think we
It's
might have.
like putting,
I
you
think
know,
we might.
it's
he's
kind of
like,
we kind of talk about it just about every show. That the things that you go through, life in particular, it's all a journey, right? So it's nothing is going to happen overnight. So that rebranding is not going to just happen when you wake up in the morning. It's going to take turns. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. Sometimes it may even stop and then you have to restart again. So just know that it is a journey and that you're going to make mistakes. It's okay
mhm.
to ask for do-overs, you know.
Mhm.
It's okay sometimes to even tap out, get
Oh,
back in the saddle when you're ready, when the time is right. And we're prime examples of the fact that it is never too late. I think that
Amen.
is something that God shows us. It is never too late because you could be content with just who you are for a number of years, and then one day you decide that it's time for you to live in your truth and your purpose, and you're going to do whatever it takes with God's help to get there.
Mhm.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Uh, hopefully, we're continuing to rebrand in the sense of we have our foundation of who we are now. For a lot of us, we have God as our anchor. So as we continue to live out, like Sheila said, we are proof that you can still have a full out whole experience of life through the business you choose to have or the career that you're in. But you're growing with a different level of awareness, a different level of purpose, and I like the word that Theo likes to use for us, intentionality. Right? I like to compare it to when you go to high school, you got to go through the work, you have to finish to graduate. But
Hmm.
in college, you get to focus in on your particular area of study. You do liberal arts and stuff, but in order to graduate, you have a focused area. Or let's say if you go to a trade school for a different skill set, that skill set is what you're focused on learning to enhance the quality of your life and what it'll do for you. So I feel like in us continuing to rebrand ourselves and to say, no, we're not going to take what people used to say about being 50 plus and we need to power down. We're saying, why should we power down? Who says that? Who says we have to? We can still live full out, and be who we are becoming and be better versions of ourselves with our foundation intact. And so I think it's the awareness that we don't have to slow down or be what people say we should because we're a certain age, or we're women of a certain disposition or what have you. I think that if you truly are rebranding yourself, you are speaking power into you, you're seeking God's word to continue to encourage you, and you put yourself in good circles of like-minded people so that that negative stuff, when it comes, you can fight that off really quick and your bounce back is stronger. So I think for me, the rebranding is understanding that we're going to go grow through changes, but
Mm-hmm.
that is also part of our ongoing development.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I'm more present to the fact that yes, that's a challenge, but it doesn't stop me. What it I versus succumb to it. So that's where I am now as far as in rebranding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I'm going to always trust God. That's one and foremost. I trust God. So He's going to lead me. I'm going to constantly rebrand myself because you're going to always evolve. You're going to constantly be rebranding, but you're going to stay true to who you are, the core of who you are. But
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be some type of rebranding because things are going to fall off and new things are going to come on. So it's just really it's, it's staying close to Him,
Yeah.
knowing who you are and whom you are, and being true to the core of who you are, and just constantly evolving in the different things that you do, the different cycles that you go through, the different people that you meet. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just it. Like you can constantly move, elevate if you choose to stand still or be still, because you might want to just it might be a come a time you say, I'm done, it's enough. I want to sit back and just chill. If that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. If you feel like you want to go on, then you go on. But don't let anyone stop you. Seek Him first and
Yes.
ask what purpose, like God, are what do you have for me to do?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause He has work for you till the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys all said it well. I would just echo that, you know, this thing called life
Mhm.
really is about fulfilling, it's about dying empty, right?
Mhm.
Which means that we have to recognize that during the process of rebranding, it is always a process of evolving.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing when to pivot, knowing how to pivot.
Mhm.
But for me, I really believe at the point that I really recognized that I needed to be intentional in every area of my life, intentional about how I sought God, how I study His Word, how I built the foundation of recognizing His voice and following and knowing and trusting that regardless of what is going on in my life, that He got my back, right? Has been tantamount to me being intentional about not giving up, about not quitting when things seem a little harder than I would think I want them to be, right? And so I think for me, that's why I talk about intention so much, because I feel like when I started to really become intentional about the way I was moving, doors started to open
Right.
Mhm.
for me that I could have never imagined opening for me. Like I could have never imagined being a published author. I could never imagine owning my own business, having an EIN, a LLC, right? So um just picking up and move, like being a little brown girl from the South Bronx, having owned homes and been able to sell and buy another one. Like there are so many things in my life that I could not have imagined. But when I began to be intentional about it, I really began to recognize how if I just keep being intentional about following God, doors are going to open that I could never imagine because his word is true and his promises are true. And he means for me to have an abundant life. Right. And so for me, I think rebranding means going after everything that God has promised us.
I like
And when we do that intentionally, doors just continue to open that we didn't even knock on. They just open and we just got to be ready to go through them. So that's another thing for me too, is this rebranding requires you to always be ready.
Mhm.
Right. And that would be for me, is if anyone is listening to this now or listening to this later, I think it's always to be ready to see beyond what is in front of you. Because
Right.
when you see beyond what is in front of you, you're preparing yourself for everything that God has in store for you. And I would just finish this with, we are believers. So for anyone that is going to watch this later,
Mhm.
whatever your moral compass is, that's what drives you. But what drives the four ladies that are here
And Miss Antoinette, that's on the call.
and Antoinette as well is is God. And so Antoinette,
Mhm.
we thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
We thank you
Thank you,
for
Anthony.
Mhm.
your contribution, for sharing with us, for opening up your heart to us. And we hope to see you again next Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be here again, and who knows what we'll be talking about, because what we'll be getting ready for what, Thanksgiving
Mm.
already.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we hope you all have a wonderful rest of the week. Meet us here next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New U Nation Network for the Woman to Woman show. And in between tonight and next Monday, hop on Wednesday night. Our founder has a show on, and she has a bunch of shows out here that can grab your attention. So if you don't catch us live, you can always catch the replay. So have a great night and a great rest of the week. Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night.
Good night.